Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the United States Association of Blind Athletes 2022 Breakfast with Champions, presented by Anthem. I'm Molly Quinn, CEO of the U.S. Association of Blind Athletes. We're excited to have you join us, whether you're watching on the live stream or you're here in person at the beautiful United States Olympic and Paralympic Museum here in Colorado Springs, or at an event in either Fort Wayne, Indiana, or New York City. The goal of the morning is to celebrate National Disability Employment Awareness Month and National Blind Sports Month, while raising awareness of USABA and the powerful impact sport has on the lives of youth and adults who are blind and visually impaired. Our agenda includes Paralympian goalball athletes sharing their personal experiences, earning an education, following their career dreams, and the impact of sport on both. Additionally, the inaugural Gold Standard Award will be recognized, and we'll hear from the blind soccer athletes at their last training camp before the first ever National Blind Soccer Team is named. We're delighted that Anthem has once again stepped up to be the presenting sponsor for Breakfast with Champions. Anthem representatives are here in person, but also spread throughout the United States, watching virtually. Please help me welcome John Thorpe, Anthem Staff Vice President, Vision Services, to the podium to say a few words.
Thank you, Molly. Appreciate it. What a great venue. Like, I've never been in this building before, and it is fantastic. I can't wait to check it out. So thank you for having us here. This is great stuff. So I'm excited and honored to be here and help support the USABA. It's a great organization, always has been. And, you know, we're a healthcare company, right? So if you think about us, we appreciate how the USABA leads the way in supporting the blind and visually impaired community. And you guys are empowering people every day to achieve their goals and lead healthy, productive lives. And so if you think about Anthem for a second, we too have a bold purpose, right, of improving the health of the people in the communities we serve. And so we go hand in hand with the USABA and kind of their mission and our mission. And so we love supporting those things. And so I wanted to tell you guys all here now that we are committed to continuing our support for the USABA Blind Soccer Program and look forward to seeing a team at the 2028 LA Olympics. So you will get our support through the Olympics, and we're excited to announce that and be a part of it. And it's a fantastic thing you guys are doing. So great. I'd also like to give a shout out to all the Anthem employees out there. So we have a table of folks here, so thanks for attending. And we've got probably about 100 people virtually online right now. So please donate, you know, to the USABA. You guys can all do that online as well. And, you know, we appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedules and being there. And, you know, and thank you for helping our Anthem members every day. So we appreciate it, and thank you, Molly.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Anthem, for your continued support. We're really excited about that. As John mentioned, we have people watching all over the country. Our board chair, Mark Ackerman, is co-hosting a Breakfast with Champions event party in New York City at the Lighthouse Guild with the organization's president, Dr. Cal Roberts. And one of our own staff members, Mary Bai Huking, our sport program coordinator, is co-hosting an event at the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic training site Turnstone in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Thank you to the Turnstone team for being here this morning. I'd like to take a second to introduce our next board member, Brian Eaton, Global Sports and Event Partnership Executive at Cisco.
Thanks, Molly. You know, you and the team have worked so hard to put on this great event, and we really want to appreciate you. On behalf of the board of directors, just want to say thank you. Thanks to the team for putting on this annual event. It's a wonderful fundraiser and a wonderful opportunity to celebrate our great athletes. So thank you, Molly. I'd also like to thank our list of sponsors, without whom this annual celebration wouldn't be possible. Anthem and your support through LA 28, which is amazing. So thank you, Anthem. Central Bank and Trust, Colorado Springs Downtown Lions Club, the Delta Gamma Alumni of Colorado Springs, the El Pomar Foundation, USI, and the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. So thank all of you for supporting us and supporting this great event. And of course, we want to thank you, our guests, for attending in person or virtually and showing your support for the National Blind Sports Month and for the USABA. Your support helps the USABA continue to foster sport and active lifestyles and all the values and health benefits that sport represents, bettering the lives of people who are blind and visually impaired. And for that, we're truly grateful. So thank you again, and I'll turn it back to Molly.
For USABA, October is one of our favorite months of the year because it celebrates two things which USABA is passionate about: employment for people with disabilities and blind sports. While I'm fortunate to work with people with disabilities, I do not personally know what it's like to have a visual impairment or how it would impact my education and professional career. So I've invited two people who are experts in their experiences to help us better understand the facts and opportunities. I'm honored to introduce Eliana Mason and John Kusku. Both are Paralympians and medal winners as part of Team USA Goalball, and you'll be able to catch a glimpse of them in this video. The United States Association of Blind Athletes is a worldwide leader in the Paralympic sport of goalball, with U.S. teams winning more than twice as many Paralympic and World Championship medals than any other country. USABA has a 45-year legacy of success, investment, and belief in sports opportunities for Americans who are blind and visually impaired. This past summer in Tokyo, our men's and women's goalball teams continued that legacy of success as both reached the medal rounds at the Paralympic Games. In the quarterfinal match of the men's goalball tournament, the U.S. found itself in a sudden death overtime match against Ukraine. On the first throw of overtime, Paralympic rookie Callahan Young scores the winning goal to send Team USA to the medal round. Then, with a berth in the gold medal match on the line, the USA women's goalball semifinal against Brazil went to a shootout. On the final throw of the extra session, another Paralympic rookie, Mindy Cook, came up with the save of her life to send the American squad into the final. They would go on to win the silver medal, the 12th Paralympic medal in USA goalball history. And Eliana to the stage.
Oh gosh, too much pressure. Thank you.
Do you want me to jump in, or are you going to say something else? I'm going to say something else.
Both Eliana and John have earned titles beyond being Paralympians. Eliana graduated from Portland State with a bachelor's degree in psychology and graduated with a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling from Antioch University. Eliana recently started a counseling position at Turnstone in Fort Wayne. She's also a member of the USABA Board of Directors, and she's our USOPC Athlete Advisory Council representative. John started at Western Michigan University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in math and physics and secondary education and a master's degree in mathematics. Since 2009, he's been teaching high school math and physics. John was also the trumpet section leader of the WMU Bronco Marching Band. He was recently honored by Western Michigan University as a distinguished alumni. John is the chair of the USABA Ethics Committee. Together, they will share facts and life experiences related to education, employment, and the influence blind sports has had on both. John and Eliana, take it away.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here with us this morning. John and I are very excited to talk about some things we're really passionate about, including education, careers, and how sport has positively impacted our lives and influenced where we are today. Before I give you some facts about blindness and employment, I want to make sure we're on the same page of what vision loss means. Often terms blindness or visually impaired are interchangeable, but sometimes when people hear the word blind, they think it means blackness or nothing, and this is not the case. Most people who are visually impaired have some functional vision, whether that be light perception, or they can see large print, or they can even see things far away. I want to use myself as an example to give you some specifics of what vision loss may look like. In my left eye, I have light perception, which means I can only see shapes or shadows. In my right eye, my acuity is 2300, meaning what you can see with 20/20 vision, what you can see with 20/20 vision with 2300, I can have to be 20 feet away. I explained that terribly. Let me do this again. With your acuity of 2300, I would have to be 20 feet away to see what you can see at 300 feet away. Hopefully that helps. I also have a limited visual field, meaning if I want to see John, I have to turn my head all the way this much to see him.
Me too.
So with that said, it's important to understand because vision loss is a spectrum and it's nuanced. And John and I both are up here with different eye conditions and different degrees of vision. And it can also get worse over time. People have degenerative eye conditions, and so it's constantly changing. I want to point this out because sometimes when I'm using my white cane and I'm looking at my phone, people will say, well, how can you see that if you're blind? And so it's important to realize how vision loss impacts people so differently. Other times I'll say I'm visually impaired and people will say, oh yeah, I can't see very well without my contacts either. And I have to say, well, it's not exactly the same. So it's just important to kind of have a base understanding of like what it means to be visually impaired and blind. So in the United States, 2.4% of the population experiences blindness, which equates to 8 million Americans. When we think about those numbers, there's 44% of people that are blind that are employed compared to the general public of 79% rates of employment. This is a huge difference, and it's not because people that are blind don't want to work or don't have the capabilities. It's often they don't have the opportunities or the support in place. Education plays a huge role into employment attainment. When we look at people who have a high school diploma, 37% of blind Americans are employed compared to 72% of the general population. Again, huge disparity here. If we add a college diploma or higher into the equation, the 37% jumps up to 65% for people that are blind, whereas it only jumps from 72% to 84% for the general population. Another statistic to think about is when we're looking at annual income, on average, someone who is blind doing the same job as someone who is not may be earning $13,000 less per year because of this. It may be due to workplace discrimination or employers maybe not understanding what their employee is capable of to increase their job duties, or simply it just may not be accessible. Unfortunately, people that are blind and visually impaired are so much more capable and competent than they're often given credit for. However, if they don't have the tools in place to help them be successful and adapt to what they need to be, they are hit by roadblocks and barriers. I've given you guys a lot of different facts and information, but I think it's important to see how does this impact us on a personal level. So I'd like to hear from John, who has all those crazy master's degrees and has been a successful teacher for over a decade. So like, how is that for you? How has that been?
Yeah, I think, first of all, you did a great job with all those statistics. Nice work. Yeah, so my vision is degenerative. I have retinitis pigmentosa, which causes me to have tunnel vision, and as I get older, that tunnel gets smaller and smaller. So when I was a little kid, I could see pretty good. As I got older, less and less. And so when I was in middle school, you know, it was a big question. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go with my life? I had a lot of support from home. But it was when I was 13 years old that I really found this sport of goalball that I love so much. And I was around all these young men, some of which had just started college or in high school, and I would travel the country playing on my Michigan goalball team with them. And every single one of those guys was going to college. There was no doubt in any of their minds they were going to college. They were already at college. I would go to Western Michigan University for my school breaks and hang out with these guys. And that just set my trajectory so high. There was no doubt in my mind I was going to college. If I wanted to get a master's degree or a PhD, I would do it. And I would not have had that experience without goalball, without meeting these young men who are also blind and visually impaired. How about you, Eliana?
Well, I think it's important to recognize how much of what we do on a day-to-day basis is due to our visual feedback. 90% of what people know in their surroundings is through their vision. And so taking that sense away can feel very daunting to a lot of people. And so having support in place like vocational rehabilitation to help you learn the skills you need is really important for the high school and college process. To learn how can you get your textbooks in accessible format? Where do I go to take my test so I can have it read to me, or I can use the technology I need? Who can I ask for help when I need to talk to my professor and I need to get this in a different way? So I just want to highlight how important it is to use the resources and support out there for you, because again, people that are blind can do all these things. They just may need to do it in a different way. And if you don't know how to do it in that different way, it may feel discouraging and you may think, well, maybe college isn't for me. And so having support, and then like John said, having that community and representation, knowing people who are blind have gone through college before you and they were successful, can be really encouraging and motivating to say, well, they did this, so maybe so can I.
When you were going through school in Oregon, you didn't go to like a school for the blind, right? You were at a normal everyday high school?
Yes.
And were you ever, other than through goalball, were you ever around any other blind or visually impaired people?
No, I was the only person in my family, in my school, in my community who was blind. And so that can feel really isolating at times because no one really knows what your experiences are like. How about you?
Yeah, almost identical. There was one other kid in my school that I found out years later was legally blind, and he and I never knew. We never knew each other. We didn't know that we had that connection because neither of us used a cane and we didn't really talk about our disability.
Yeah.
So yeah, having that connection is so important. So
absolutely.
Let's talk about how sport really influences our education and our careers. Of those 8 million Americans who are blind or visually impaired, more than 500,000 are school-age kids. Almost 70% of those school-age kids aren't getting the physical education curriculum that they deserve. We know sport is very important for everybody, but for people with disabilities, it's incredibly impactful. It provides a sense of belonging, it reduces social exclusion, helps us to learn the skills and the tools needed to be included in the world, and it helps us develop self-esteem, self-confidence, and motivation to achieve the highest ability that we can. So for me, I know that sport was, I can't explain how important it was. When I was a little kid, I played on a soccer team. I was always on defense. My peripheral vision didn't really allow me to excel as much as I could, but it was a lot of fun. I loved it. I loved being part of a team and being included. As I got, also I used to play driveway rollerblade hockey every single day. Even in the winter, we'd shovel the driveway so we could play rollerblade hockey. And it was just the best. It was so fun to play with the neighborhood kids, play all these games. As I got older into middle school, my vision got worse. We all got stronger and faster, and the games weren't fun anymore. If I played as hard as I could play, I would hurt somebody, I'd hurt myself, I'd break something. It wasn't very much fun. And in hindsight, I realized I was very miserable. I was lost. I didn't really know what to do. I was kind of between friend groups. And it was at that time that I went to the Michigan Blind Athletic Association Sports Education Camp held at Western Michigan University. So this is a week-long camp for kids all over Michigan to come and learn different sports, learn how to adapt sports so they can be successful in their own high school or middle school, learn how to play goalball and other sports that were designed for people who are blind. And I showed up there as a 13-year-old kid, didn't really know what I was getting myself into, played left wing down from the hardest thrower in the state, Carl Love, and he blasted me right in the nose the very first throw of the game. They had to stop the game, stop my nose from bleeding. We only had 3 players, so in goalball it's 3-on-3, and we didn't have a substitute. So they said, well, we stopped the bleeding. Can you keep playing? And I said, no, I have to keep playing. So I really fell in love with the sport. And as I said, I found these guys that they weren't afraid to use their cane. They weren't afraid to walk into things. They weren't afraid to ask for help. They weren't afraid to turn down help and say, no, actually, I can do this. And it was such an amazing opportunity for me to learn from these other men and just become a very successful human being through these experiences through goalball. Aliana, how about you? Like, what was, preparing for college, career, life, how was that for you?
Yeah, well, I would say very similar. I think a lot of us, in the blind sports world have some similar experiences and stories. I am the middle child between 2 brothers. So as you can imagine, I grew up in a very competitive environment, always trying to keep up with them, and I couldn't see very well. So we were like trying to play basketball, soccer, football. I can't tell you guys how many times I got hit in the head by them because they forgot I couldn't see the ball. My dad was always like, you guys, she cannot see it when you throw it at her. But here I was, 9 years old, like barreling down the field trying to keep up with them because I love sports. I wanted to be included. And it was hard in PE. The teachers didn't really know exactly what to do with me. They don't want to be liable if you get hurt. So it's like, hey, you can sit on the bleachers and watch everyone, or you can go to the library, and that's no fun.
I had the exact same experience.
It makes you feel excluded, and also it's like you want to be out there, and you learn a lot of social skills and interaction through things like PE and doing these things with your teammates. So for me, discovering goalball honestly absolutely changed the entire trajectory of my life. But I'd say the biggest part about it is it helped me find like my confidence in my identity through feeling empowered for the first time. Because in life, like I mentioned, we either have to accommodate or adapt or work through things. But for goalball, vision's eliminated. And so it's the first time ever it was just completely out of the game, out of the playing field. It wasn't like I was overcoming this barrier. It was equal because vision loss is a spectrum, like I said, and everyone experiences it differently. So when you put on those eye shades, whether your vision is like mine or like John's, or even if you're completely sighted and you put on those eye shades, we're all equal. And so to me, that was so empowering. I could get out there and just play and practice and train and work to be the best that I could be without having this barrier. And it's really funny to me looking back because when I first started goalball, I didn't own my blindness. I didn't want to be seen as someone who was blind. I didn't want to identify with being blind. I was just like, oh God, no, that's not me. Like, I can see. Like, I was like in, the teenage denial phase. And so when I started playing and going to these tournaments, I like told my friends I was just like traveling for fun. Like, I didn't tell them I was playing goalball because I'm like, I don't want them to know I'm playing a blind sport because then maybe they'll know I'm blind, even though obviously I'm blind. But in my head, it was like this well-kept secret. And so it's funny because now if you know me, you know goalball. Like, they're like one and the same. But 10 years ago, it was like a process for me to learn, like, it's okay to be blind. Like John said, you have this community, you learn from your peers, you see people in college, you see people with jobs, you see people with families and with kids and using their canes and asking for help and being successful. And it really just rewired my brain that like blindness is nothing to be ashamed of, or it's not like something to be embarrassed of. It's just part of who I am, and that's okay. So sports, like blind sports, have just changed my entire life.
Yeah, I'm going to add to what you said about, owning the blindness. When I started high school, I'm right there with you. I hid goalball from other people. Like, why are you going to Montreal? Why are you going to New Jersey? What are you doing? And like some of my teachers knew, but then as I played more and more and I realized how cool goalball is and how okay it is to be blind, eventually I even put the word goalball on the back of my varsity jacket in high school. So, it said like symphonic band, marching band, jazz band, goalball. And
awesome.
My senior year, people would stop me in the hallway, dude, like, what's on your jacket? We don't do goalball at Warren Mott High School. What is that? So taking that ownership and really owning my blindness and owning the sport, that really changed my life. I certainly would never have done half the things that I've done in my life without goalball, and it can't speak enough about it.
Well, I think also it's interesting to think about, like, we learn so many skills through a team sport, like hard work and determination. You learn successes, you learn failures, you learn how to work with others. You learn so many life skills. And in my counseling program, I did an entire research paper about the correlation between people who are blind and getting involved at a young age with adaptive sports and how it increases self-esteem, well-being, and levels of confidence. Because you learn a lot of these skills that other kids are learning through joining like soccer or basketball or any of those other able-bodied sports at like 5, 6, 7 years old. You know, if you're blind and you're on the playground, you can't jump into a game of tag as easily. You don't, you can't mimic these other visual things that other kids are doing. At Turnstone in the training program, some people are learning how to skip for their first time because it's such a visual movement that you probably don't remember when you learned how to skip, right? You just saw someone do it and you mimicked it. But when you're blind, you don't have that same ability to just go and mimic what you're seeing. And so it really just teaches people all these skills that they can take to other parts of their life, whether that be their college classes or the work setting, or just like learning these important life skills that other people are getting through just natural osmosis.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's time for us to wrap things up.
All right.
But I wanted to say that the mission of the United States Association of Blind Athletes is to empower blind and visually impaired Americans so they can experience, oh man, I forgot it. Hang on one second. Please bear with me. Empower Americans who are blind and visually impaired to experience the life-changing opportunities in sports, recreation, physical activity, to educate and inspire the nation. Whew.
Also, we have our medals, so come check them out.
Ellie and I both really love to talk, so please do come see us. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you, John and Eliana. Once again, we're impressed with your persistence and drive to overcome the challenges of living with a disability, while also excelling as Paralympians. We're so proud of your accomplishments, both on and off the court. Thank you for sharing. USABA is exceptionally proud of the legacy of excellence we've built with our goalball program. We could not be where we are today without our athletes, coaches, board of directors, partners, and donors. One specific donor was instrumental to the development of Team USA Goalball resident program in Fort Wayne, Indiana. As a sport enthusiast, Ron W. Plasman was a passionate champion of goalball, adaptive sports, and the Paralympic movement. Ron's passionate support, specifically for goalball athletes, led to the creation, which is now the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Training Center at Turnstone in Fort Wayne. It is the first goalball-specific training site in the United States and now the home of the USA men's and women's goalball resident training programs. In honor and memory of Ron, USABA and Turnstone created the Ronald Plasman Gold Standard Award. Established in 2021, the award is presented annually to a deserving athlete, coach, or program supporter who demonstrates gold standard values lived by the actions and support of Ron Plasman, who passed away at the beginning of the year. These include excellence in the field of play, sportsmanship, leadership, and championing the sport of goalball. I'm proud to recognize Jake Chakowski, head coach of the U.S. Women's Goalball National Teams, as the 2022 recipient of the Ronald Plasman Gold Standard Award. I wish I could invite Jake to the stage to say a few words, but he was unable to attend today. Jake and his wife welcomed their second child last week, and he is with his family. Instead, let's take a look at part of his acceptance speech at Turnstone this past September.
If there is a person that understood what we were doing, understood that it was really, really important and that we needed help, it was Ron. He was the gold standard for everything we do. And I tell you what, one of my favorite moments, I have an 8-year-old son, his name's Jay. Ron knows Jay very, very well. They became really good buddies watching practice together. And one of the coolest things you'll ever see is Ron sitting next to my son, just ribbing each other to death, talking junk, just being silly. Goal ball, for those who don't know, you got to be quiet so the athletes can hear the ball. Trying to get those two to be quiet, forget it. Was not going to happen. And just those memories are the ones that, on days that I do get a little bit sad, that I know I'm not going to see him heading down the hallway. What I do know is that he is still there. He's still visiting us. He's still ribbing us. He's still saying, "Can't you throw harder? What are you going to do? You know, come on, girls, get your stuff together." Just those little things. But what you said, this right here, this is not where I'm meant to be. But in respect to Ron and everything that this award stands for, I couldn't be prouder to be here at this moment. I really like to stand on the sidelines. That's what coaches do, right? It's uncomfortable for me to be up here, but one thing that Ron taught me is it doesn't matter my level of comfort, my level of nerves, any of that. Smile and give them hell. That's what he would tell you, right? So we're going to continue to try to live on that legacy. I could not be more honored to accept this award, but I'm telling you right now, this is not an individual award. Gold standard is something that USA Goalball, USABA, and Turnstone has been committed to since I've been a part of this process, and our commitment only gets stronger. And again, with support like people like Ron, Ron's great, amazing family, that legacy and that standard will never waver. So thank you very, very much for your support for Goalball, for Turnstone, USABA, and everybody else. Thank you. Thank you so much, my boy. You are awesome. Amigo.
Congratulations again to Jake. And thank you to the Plasman family for providing critical financial resources to support both the men's and women's National Goalball residency programs. While the Goalball program established and growing, USABA recognized that the fastest growing Paralympic sport internationally is blind soccer. However, blind soccer did not have a national governing body recognized by the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Since USABA has been so successful and proven itself as the high-performance management organization for goalball since 1976, USABA boldly stepped forward, applied, and was certified by the USOPC for blind soccer at the beginning of the year. We proudly accept the challenge of developing the exciting sport of blind soccer in the United States. We understood the responsibility of bringing this fast-paced sport to blind and visually impaired American youth was the goal of fielding the first American blind soccer team at the Los Angeles Games in 2028. So what is blind soccer? You might wonder, is it just like soccer? We know, but with blindfolded players. Do players really dribble the ball down the field and shoot a goal without the ability to see a ball, the field, or the other players? Yes, that's what they do, but there's more to it. Check out this video so that you can learn some of the basics.
There are 5 players per team, 4 outfield players and a goalkeeper. The aim of the sport is to score a goal by kicking the ball into your opponent's goal, and at the end of the game, whoever scored the most wins. Players must wear eye shades to ensure that all players have the same level of vision. That is apart from the goalkeepers, who aren't required to wear eye shades and can be fully sighted. Their job is to keep the ball from going in the goal behind them. But how do the players on the field know where the ball, or indeed the goal, is? Well, the ball in blind football is specially designed to make sound whenever it moves. Also, each team has a guide behind the opposition goal to help direct them. Each player is required to shout "Voy" when going for the ball. This ensures every player has the cues they need to help build a picture of what's going on and what to do next in defence or attack. To help this, total silence is required from the crowd until a goal goes in. Voy is Spanish for go, and it was the Spanish who were credited with originally developing blind football in the 1920s. As well as the Paralympics, teams from all corners of the world can compete at World, European, Asian, African and America's Championships, as well as a World Grand Prix.
Blind football can be played by both men and women, with the historic first Women's World Championships coming up in 2023.
In 2018, USABA launched a grassroots blind soccer awareness campaign in the United States. Several national team identification camps and clinics have been held in addition to expanding existing local club teams. USABA is striving to attain the same world-class level with blind soccer as it has successfully done with goalball. Camps have been held in North Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, Colorado, and Los Angeles. In the United States, 2.4% of the population has a visual impairment. That equates to almost 8 million Americans. More than 500,000 school-age children are visually impaired. USABA wants to ensure that all youth have the opportunity to try blind soccer. We know that sport has a dramatic impact on people of all abilities, but for people with disabilities, it is incredibly impactful in providing a sense of belonging and reducing social exclusion, learning the tools and knowledge necessary to successfully integrate into able-bodied recreational opportunities, and developing self-confidence, self-esteem, and motivation to achieve in all areas of life. USABA has partnered with Los Angeles Recreation and Parks to launch Play LA. David Brown, a 3-time Paralympian and 2016 gold medalist in track and field, has expanded his training to include blind soccer, where he serves as a USABA sport ambassador, athlete recruiter, and Paralympic hopeful for the LA 28 Games.
What's up, y'all? My name is David Brown, Paralympic gold medalist. Join me for a free series of Play LA blind soccer clinics supported by the United States Association of Blind Athletes in Los Angeles. Ages 5 through 17, blind and visually impaired youth. All skill levels are welcome. The dates are October the 8th, the 15th, 22nd, and November 12th. Y'all can register at adaptivesportsla.org if this is something that y'all want to be involved in. And man, I'm excited to have y'all there.
As you've had a chance to see, we're building blind soccer across the United States. In this last piece, you had a chance to hear from one of our Play LA blind soccer coaches, David Brown, who's a 3-time Paralympian in track and field. David and a team of coaches have been part of a new initiative under the LA 28 Summer Games programming to provide more opportunities for adaptive sports in Los Angeles County. Why is LA so important? The sport of blind soccer has been part of the Paralympic Games since 2004, but the U.S. has never fielded a team. That will all change in 2028 when Los Angeles plays host to the Olympic and Paralympic Games, and the U.S. will receive an automatic entry into the blind soccer competition as the host country. In the next 6 years, the world's 2 biggest sporting events will happen on American soil. In 2026, the FIFA World Cup will be played throughout the U.S. for the first time in 3 decades. In 2028, the Summer Olympic and Paralympic Games will take place in Los Angeles. It will mark the first time that LA has played host to the Paralympic Games. Right now, as I speak, USABA is holding a team selection camp in Chula Vista, California, where 13 players with visual impairments and 3-sighted goalkeepers will strive to earn a spot on the first ever U.S. blind soccer national team. From that pool of athletes, 8 players will join 2 goalkeepers to form the team that will begin international friendly competition in 2023, the first step on the journey to competing at the Los Angeles 2028 Paralympic Games. Now let's meet the head coach and those athletes.
My name is Katie Smith, and I am the head coach for the USA Men's Blind Soccer National Team. This weekend, with our experienced coaching staff, we are excited to assess the talent and camaraderie with all of the athletes. Earlier this year, we held 2 identification camps to really create the pool of athletes that we have here today. There is such incredible talent with this group, and we are so excited about the experience that both the coaches and the athletes are bringing to this camp. As we build blind soccer through camps, leagues, other programs, we will have parents and coaches pointing to this first team of athletes and encouraging their children to be a part of blind soccer. This is just an example of how hard work and dedication can bring to this Paralympic stage. This first team will empower and inspire generations of blind and visually impaired youth. Let's meet the team.
I'm Phil Wilson with the USA Men's Blind National Soccer Team. I'm from northeast of England and I currently reside in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'm an assistant coach with the USA Blind Men's National Team. My name is Ryan Lazaro. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
My name is Ricky Castaneda. I'm 22-year-old from Fort Worth, Texas.
My name's Tanner Gears. I'm 39 years old. I live in Phoenix, Arizona.
My name is John Marquez. I'm 35 years old. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas.
My name is Cody Kirchner. I am 33 from Columbia, South Carolina.
My name is Jefferson Palacios. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
My name is Ahmed Sharif from Staten Island, New York.
My name is Noah Beckman. I'm 30 years old and I'm from Buckeye Country in Columbus, Ohio.
I'm Charles Catherine. I'm 34 years old from Brooklyn, New York.
My name is David Brown. I'm 30 years old and I'm from San Diego, California.
My name is Casmer Huerta. I'm 39 years old from Novi, Michigan.
My name is Alvaro Mora Arellano. I'm 35 years old and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
My name is Antoine Craig and I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Kevin Brown, Falls Church, Virginia.
Hi, I'm Kyle Knott from Brevard, North Carolina. I'm one of the sighted goalkeepers attending camp this weekend.
Hi, my name is Elijah Tejeda, and I'm from National City, California.
My name is Brant Heron. I'm 21 years old, a sighted goalkeeper from Palm Coast, Florida.
It's hard to explain the unique opportunity this is for the athletes. Can you imagine how it would feel to be named to the first ever blind soccer team for the United States, to wear USA on your jersey and represent your country in international competition for the first time? What a feeling. As we conclude our program, I want to thank our speakers, Eliana and John, for being such outstanding examples of the power of blind sports and the infinite employment potential that exists for people who are blind or visually impaired. The life lessons they shared will be shared broadly, and youth will develop self-confidence, self-esteem, and motivation to achieve in all areas of life. Thank you to our virtual hosts, Mark Ackerman, Dr. Cal Roberts, Mary Bai Hooking, and the Turnstone team. Thank you again for attending in person or virtually and showing your support of National Disability Employment Awareness Month and Blind Sports Month and USABA. And again, thank you to all of our sponsors. Your support of USABA continues to bring sports into the lives of people who are blind and visually impaired, which will lead to a productive and fulfilling life for each person. Lastly, USABA values your support, and we have a favor to ask you. Please share the business card that you will receive today, which is on your table, with a friend, and invite them to learn more about USABA, goalball, blind soccer, and other programs. You saw today how impactful blind sports is on people who are blind and visually impaired. It's not just about making Paralympians, it's about empowering people through sport to learn lessons and skills that will enable them to lead successful and fulfilling lives as members of our community. Again, thank you for being here.
sit down. Shut up and sit down.